Did your father really bite the head off a bat?
Oh, that was the nicest question I got asked. I mean, did your father spread a bucket around the audience and they all spat in it, and did he drink it? I mean, just absurd things.
You dropped out of school.
Yes, it is absurd. That video clip that you just saw was done back in either 2001 or 2002. Now let's go back 20 years before, maybe 21. When I was a child in elementary school, a childhood friend of mine saved up his money and went to Payless and bought this Kiss Paul Stanley solo album right there, and we listened to it. Sometime a few months later, in our fort, he took the record, locked me out of the room, and broke it and destroyed it, claiming that Kiss means knights in Satan's service, you know. And he told me a few things like they urinate all over their audience. I forgot the most of what it is that they told me. Keep in mind, this was probably back in 1983 when I was still in elementary school. He also told me the story that Kiss passes trays around to their audience members, and the audience members spit in it, and he drinks it and spits this red gooey stuff out. Sometime later, I remember being told by somebody else that it wasn't true, and when I told my childhood friend about it, he said, yes, it is true, yes, it is true. Well, guess what? The same rumor has been dodging around for 20 years, and it's just not true. That's nothing new that Aimee's talking about. I heard the same rumor back in 1981 or 82 or 83, thanks to a playmate of mine, and I remember it quite well. That urban legend is definitely not true. There have been a number of urban legends about rock and roll that have been around for the past few decades. That's one of them. There's two others that we're going to dispel and also prove that they're not true either, thanks to the internet. Hello. Back in the 1970s, a rumor was running around that Alice Cooper would bring out a bag loaded with little kittens, throw them into the crowd, and claim that he would not start the concert until the kittens are returned to him dead. Right? Well, that probably stemmed from the fact that during a concert in 1969, somebody threw a chicken on stage during a concert in Toronto, and Alice Cooper threw it back into the crowd. They were the ones who tore it to pieces, but the press said that Alice Cooper bites the head off of chickens. Ozzy Osbourne in the 1980s did bite the head off of a dove during a record company meeting and bit the head off of a bat by accident during a live concert. But then all of a sudden, Ozzy Osbourne was saddled throughout the 1980s with the rumor that he would bring out a litter of puppy dogs on stage, throw them into the crowd, and claim that he wouldn't begin the concert until the dogs were returned to him dead. Variations of that rumor were printed up in anti-rock religious books, and I actually met a childhood friend's mother who actually believed it. It was proven to not be true, like it says in the urban legend, but when Marilyn Manson came on the scene, the same rumor about him bringing dogs on stage, puppy dogs to slaughter, throw into the crowd and claim that the concert will not begin until the dogs were returned to him dead, that happened in the 1990s. So that rumor was attributed to Marilyn Manson, and people actually believed it. What is it that people are thinking? Do they think that rock and roll stars are so rich that they make so much money that they can get away with such cruel acts on stage and do things like that, and all they have to do is just pay for it because they're so rich? You know, that rumor is not true, but did we ever learn? No, still haven't. Because I even remember my father receiving an email from somebody who actually believed that it was true that Marilyn Manson was killing puppies during his concerts. Do not go to his sick concerts. You may have heard this one throughout the 80s, that a rock and roll star had to have their stomach pumped. And they had to pump out not just a pint of semen, sometimes animal semen, but sperm out of the rock star's stomach, a pint or a gallon. This rumor is usually attributed to Rod Stewart. Other recipients of this rumor were Elton John, Mick Jagger, but not that much. I only heard it about Rod Stewart, basically. And also, all the members of the Bay City Rollers had to have their stomachs pumped. As you can tell, that this rumor in rock and roll is also just as false as all the other ones. Basically, they've been around probably since the 70s. And by the 1990s, they kind of withered away.
Very interesting.